चक्रवर्ती साहब म्यूटेड है, अनम्यूट करिए अपने को।
हाँ डॉक्टर साहब कैसे हैं?
Sorry, yeah. No, unmute कर दिया. How are you? Fine.
Yes,
How about you?
Yeah.
Okay.
मास्टर साहब नमस्कार।
नमस्कार साहब नमस्कार।
How are you? Fine.
I'm just fine. How about you?
Yeah, better than you. Because no work. No, you people are busy with work. I don't have any work, so I am better than you.
Yes, Vyas Pandey, how are you?
सर फाइन।
Okay, डॉक्टर
हुडा साहब,
हुडा साहब कैसे हैं?
ठीक है जी, बढ़िया सर। नमस्कार नमस्कार।
हाँ सर नमस्कार। हुडा सर
नमस्कार डॉक्टर साहब।
Oh, Nabansho, how are you?
fine fine fine
You are making us alive.
yeah you are looking great today
Oh, really?
with blue color shirt, you know.
T-shirt.
Yeah,
गेटिंग स्मार्टर।
Oh. That is your love and affection. Your love and affection.
Mr. Manoj Thakur namaskar।
म्यूटेड है, अनम्यूट के।
Yeah, how are you, sir?
Fine fine fine।
Yeah, okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yes, Dr. Manoj.
Yes, Dr. Rao, how are you?
Yes, sir. Very good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon.
Glad to see you all.
Thank you, thank you.
Hi, Prasadra, how are you?
Fine, sir. Fine. Fine.
Good.
ఏమన్నా మాస్టర్ ఎలా ఉన్నారు ఏంటి?
Very fine.
డాక్టర్ మనోజ్.
DGSN, how are you?
Fine, sir. Fine, very fine. And Nabanso, good evening.
राजी रेड्डी।
EMI మాట్లాడబారు।
डॉक्टर राजी रेड्डी, अनम्यूट योरसेल्फ।
Dr. Sahab, you are the only exception with headphones.
Yeah, because if I speak, it should be audible. For me also,
Yeah,
it gives a good help.
Good, yes.
I am also using this.
Good
No,
thing.
these are small, but that is better.
Yeah, I am also using earphones.
Good.
Good morning, Afonso. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
Very good morning.
Good morning.
Very good morning, Dr. Gurali।
Good morning, sir.
It is good afternoon, Dr. Bunai.
Francesca, good morning।
Good morning.
Hello, sir. Ramakrishna. Good evening.
Nabanso, you deserve a special felicitation. No, really, you are making us more alive.
Yeah, that's true.
Hi, sir.
Jack, how are you? Long time.
Fine. A long time.
Me. He's in Hyderabad.
Yeah, I'm in Hyderabad.
Yes, Dr. Ramakrishna, how are you?
Fine. How are you, sir?
Just fine.
Good afternoon, all of you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Surinder, good afternoon.
Just
Good
fine,
morning,
sir. All
good
well,
evening.
all my senior citizens and big guns in agrometeorology. Very good afternoon, sir.
Very good afternoon to
The
you.
man with
Good
cap.
afternoon, sir.
The man with cap.
Right, sir. Your Excellency, Professor NVK.
Oh.
Morning.
Professor Pandey is here. I can see all my gurus.
Yes. Varshne Saab.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Namaskar.
I am very well here.
Yes, I'm seeing you. Yes. How is HAO, Surinder?
Right, sir.
Going on good?
Yeah, all well, sir. We are eagerly waiting monsoon. It's held up somewhere beyond Delhi.
Okay. It may be delayed by some more time.
Yeah. The agrometeorologist just remembered one in stress. When there is a stress in environment or rainfall, then agrometeorologists are recalled.
Yeah,
Yes.
nice.
Otherwise, they are forgotten.
Yeah, otherwise in luxury weather there is no
Yes.
all going to be fine.
It is only the rain which reminds the agriculture meteorology.
Right. You're right. Rain or
Welcome,
absence of rain? Rain or
welcome
absence of
Professor
rain?
Odivaldo.
No, sir, no. I think in my one of the books I wrote this thing. God loves you. The symbol is rain.
Rain. Okay.
Because if God wants to mankind to survive, rains will be there. Whole thing will grow. Otherwise, nothing will come.
Nothing will come. Yes.
Yeah. So it is the rains which shows the love of God to mankind.
Mankind. Right.
Not its absence, its a
No.
presence. Yeah.
Presence. Okay. Good. क्या करो GGSN?
Our whole problem is that all the virtues are free of cost. Whether it is rain, it is sunshine, it is wind, they are all free of cost.
Yes.
And therefore, nobody values. People value a person who is purchasable, who can give them or purchase, they can purchase like that. Because our every virtue is free, we are not purchasable. We are a commodity which can be blessed, but which we cannot be purchased.
Purchased. Yeah.
Yeah.
We agree. Yeah, that's true.
Dr. Atri, welcome. Are you on wheel?
Yes, he is driving, I think.
So we are going to start today's program.
Yeah.
Hello, Chata Sahab. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to all.
Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
So we are going to start today's program. Around 23% joined and others will be joining.
Yeah.
So greetings and warm welcome to all of you in today's, that is the second webinar of INSAM platform on activities on agrometeorology in Italy, research and services. Trust all of you are fine, one word, and doing well with your family and friends in spite of this ongoing pandemic situation across the world. Today, we are very happy to have with us three distinguished and eminent personalities in the field of agrometeorology from Italy, who have done commendable work in the field of agromet research, agromet service, and other aspects of agrometeorology. They are Dr. Francesca Ventura, Federico Spanna, and Chiara Epifani. On behalf of INSAM and the August gathering in today's meeting, one welcome to all of you, Dr. Francesca, Federico, and Chiara. Before requesting all the speakers to deliver the presentation, my submission to those who are joining the first time in the INSAM webinar is that INSAM is at present dealing with the subject of agrometeorology globally and addressing the core issues of agrometeorology in terms of food security, climate change, climatic variability, and its impact on agriculture, and etc. etc. Though INSAM has been working virtually since long, we have a plan to have our physical presence in different national meteorological and hydrological services, agriculture universities, agriculture institutes, and allied agriculture institutes in the world. And in this aspect, INSAM wants to work as a knowledge platform for improvement in different fields of agrometeorology nationally and regionally. At present, INSAM has more than 2,000 members across the world. And India, we are having 800 members, followed by Nigeria, 298, Iran, 191, Brazil, 84, South Africa, 70, and Italy, 46, and so on. Those who are interested to be the member of INSAM, I am requesting you to visit our INSAM website. The address of the INSAM website is www.agrometeorology.org. I am repeating, www.agrometeorology.org. At present, membership of INSAM is free of charge. One of the ongoing activities of INSAM is to transfer the knowledge in different aspects of agrometeorology to the global agromate community and global users for use of the same in operational agromate services. In view of that, we are arranging a number of webinars inviting the experts in different fields of agrometeorology and share their rich experience and the case studies so that the other countries can be motivated and they can apply this kind of innovations in agriculture. In today's webinar, we will give an overview of the situation of agrometeorology in Italy, discussing about teaching and research in universities, research at national and regional level, and the transfer of new knowledge to technicians and farmers. An overview of the main research theme, traditional and innovative, and of the existing operational services will also be made. Now I will present the credential and introduce all the speakers to all of you. Dr. Francesca Ventura graduated in physics. She is Professor of Agrometeorology and Agriculture Ecology at the Department of Agro-Food Sciences and Technologies of the University of Bologna, Italy. She carries out research and experimentation in the field of interactions between agriculture, environment, and territory. More recently, her research interests are directed to the study of climate change at the local level and of possible actions for adaptation and mitigation, phenology of crops, agrometeorology, meteorological data collection, and the processing and use in models to estimate and forecast robotics application in precision farming. She is at present president of the Italian Association of Agrometeorology and member of the executive committee of INSAM. Next speaker, Federico Spanna. Federico Spanna graduated in agriculture science at the University of Turin. He specializes in agrometeorology and is currently coordinator of the Agrometeorological Service of Piedmont region, that is in northwest Italy. He was president of the National Association of Agrometeorology in Italy from 2009 to 2018 and has been a contract professor of viticultural micrometeorology at the University of Turin, member of the National Technical Scientific Commission of the National Action Plan for the Sustainable Use of Pesticides, member of the Agriculture Academy of Turin, member of the Open Panel of the Commission of Agrometeorology, World Meteorological Organization, member of the National Group for the Coordination of the Agrometeorological Activities in Italy, Agrometeorological Project, coordinator or partner of more than 40 research papers, author of more than 80 scientific papers. Our last speaker, Chiara Epifani. Chiara Epifani graduated in biology. She is researcher at the Council of Agriculture Research and Analysis of Agriculture Economics, the Council of Agriculture Research and Economics, Italy. She deals with agrometeorological and phenology monitoring and organization and management of the meteorological and phenological database. In particular, she is involved in the phenological research, analysis of historical series of phenological data to identify the influences of climate change and the trends in progress. She is currently in charge of the Agrometeorological project financed under the National Rural Network program by the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Forestry. She is the member of the Italian Association of Agrometeorology. Before handing over the floor to the speakers, I am requesting all the participants in today's webinar, please mute your sound so that we can clearly hear the speakers' deliberation. So now it's over to Francesca, Federico, and Chiara.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nabanzu, for your presentation. I try to share my video and I hope it will work. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes, yes. Can you make the full screen?
Is okay now?
You have to make full screen.
I already did it. I'm not sure. So I'm seeing the full screen. Are you seeing the full screen or not?
No.
No.
Si vede ancora parziale.
Non so cosa fare. I'm sorry, it's always a problem. Now I stopped the presentation. I suppose I try again.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
Adesso non vediamo.
Non vedete?
Sì, ci siamo.
Ci siamo?
Okay.
Sì. Sorry for the Italian. Okay, hello everybody.
It's better, yeah.
It's okay.
You can proceed. Yeah, you can proceed.
Okay. So, yes, this is a small presentation about the activities around agrometeorology in Italy. Italy is a small country, a very small country compared to India, but it's very diverse and there are a lot of activities at several levels. So we are going to let you know how it works. I will start from the Italian Association of Agrometeorology that we call IAM. This is the starting point. IAM was founded in 1997, and this is a picture from the first meeting where this group of people decided what to do, the name, the statute, and so on. It's a long time ago, as you can see. The activity, this is the actual Directive Council. As you can see, and as Nabanzu already said, I'm the president. Federico Spanna, who is the second speaker, is part of a council member and is the vice president. And Chiara Epifani, who is the third speaker, she is an auditor. And This is a picture of the people now. This is a picture from the last Congress that we had in 2019. We were guests at the University of Naples in this wonderful room, the Chinese room. And here is the end of the Congress. And you can see us, the three of us. Okay, so a special feature is of this association is that we have two, let's say, group of people, of members from the university, from the research, and members of the operative service, the extension service. So the association is the point where we share experience and knowledge, and also new topics of interest from the stakeholders come out and are shared with the university and the research institute. As you can see here, we used to be about 150 members, more or less half in research and half in services. But also we used to have supporting members, including foundations, regional services as a whole, the private weather services that are paid privately by the farmers, and also instrument companies. So it's a very interesting point of aggregation. You see these numbers that I said are in italics in this slide because the pandemic cut them in half. And so we didn't have the Congress last year, and this is part of the problem. So we hope we will have again more members in the near future. And here you can see me with my students at the old agrometeorological station of the University of Bologna. So I will not read the aims of the association because I'm sure are the aims of all the association we all belong to, and INSAM also, mainly to enhance and promote the figure of the agrometeorologist, and also to support dissemination and help to develop technical activity, technical regulation, and link service and research activities. So we do these activities, so we want to bring to farmers new knowledge and new things, always having in mind the sustainable development goals that the FAO gave us. With this in mind, we keep on working on agronomy and agrometeorology. As I said, the activities of the association are mainly around the Congress, because the Congress, we have a Congress per year, and this is the point of aggregation where we meet and have the opportunity to talk and share in person when it was possible. We share knowledge and interest and problems also, and technicalities and so on. Next Congress will be online, unfortunately, and will be next week. And the topic is Agriculture 4.0 and the climate change. So the interest goes around precision agriculture, satellites, and new techniques that are now studied and applied, starting to be applied. Also, next to the congresses, there is a journal, the Italian Journal of Agrometeorology. During the last few years, it had a lot of growth a lot. Now it's open access. The impact factor is small, is 1.18, but is growing, and exists online open access, and at the moment is free of charge if you want to publish. So it's very interesting. Take a look at it. You can find the link in the web page of Italian Agrometeorology Association. We also have other activities, for example, specific training courses. In March, we had an advanced school in agricultural meteorology for a climate-smart agriculture. It was really successful. We had 43 people attending from 19 different countries. And also, we want to support and help young people. So we give every year awards for the thesis, so for doctoral thesis, but also for master degree thesis, and also a best paper award for young scientists. So we give back some of the money that come in from the people fee, because IAM is not like INSAM, so it's not fee. The fee is not free of charge, but we use this money also in this way to support young people, young scientists. Okay, and this is all about IAM. And what I want to tell you now is what is going on from the point of view of research in university and also in those institutes like CNR that are pure research institutes. So they are not related strictly to agriculture, but to research as it is. So we have, let's say, the traditional topics that are still developed. And so crop and weed physiology, taking a look at the environment in which the crop and the weeds grow, the soil water management and the water balance. In Italy, we are experiencing a change in the pattern of rainfall and precipitations. And this means that in some area, drought is becoming a real problem. Somewhere else it already was. And so we need to enhance and refine the use of water, the soil water management, both at a farm level and also at a water manager's level, at a territorial level. And also there is a lot of work on pathogens and their development as related to the meteorology. And then plant phenology, again, in order to have models, crop growth models that successfully can forecast the crops yield, and so also give indication to the market for the prices, mainly for the cereals. And then also environmental models, of course. So these are the topics that started with the agrometeorology, let's say 50 years ago. Now there are new topics that are the classical research topic in agriculture, but looking strictly at the agrometeorology, and so the soil, plant, and water relationships. And then, for example, bioclimatic indices, not only climatic indices, so the climate, but taking into account the plant's characteristics, and also climate change in the sense of adaptation and mitigation strategies at a farmer level and at a territorial level. One of the problems that you are having that is very heavy here in Italy is the water extremes, and we have both extremes in cold with frost protection and in hot weather with heat waves and abiotic damage on plants and on crops, and so the risk management. And there is also some work on long-term seasonal forecasts that will be very useful in hope in the near future to manage and handle the crops and the water also on a let's say a territorial or a watershed level. And then these are the topics. On the other side, the means, so the instruments. For example, there is a lot of work on satellite data because Europe launched a family of satellite that is called Sentinel, and this gives data free of charge to everybody. Anybody who wants can download free this data. They are very good, corrected, and very reliable. So starting from this, all that is precision irrigation and precision agriculture is being developed very quickly at the moment. So these are the new and emerging topics at the moment for the research in university. And here you can see also drones. There was a big flame around about drones a few years ago, but now the satellite topics is subverting this popularity, and now drones are used mainly for wedding and tourist purposes. Anyway, what else? University is also education. So education, as I said at the beginning, Italy is a small country. Here I put a small table where I compare the surface and the people, the inhabitants. I compare Italy to India, and of course there is no comparison. The three names in yellow, red, and blue are the three regions we belongs. Federico, Chiara, and I belongs. I live in Emilia-Romagna, the red one. Federico lives and works in Piedmont, the yellow one. And Chiara lives and works in Lazio, where Rome, the capital, is. So you can see they're very small regions. We have 20 regions in Italy, and 67 public universities. So I think with this comparison is a big number. And then, of course, there are the private that I don't take into account, are a smaller number than 67. Of these 67 public universities, 25 have courses in agricultural or agri-food technologies. But then, if you go and look into the name of the classes and the teaching, only 10 of these universities have some agrometeorology classes. In most of the cases, agrometeorology is a small part of the class, of the course of agronomy or agricultural ecology. And not only this, but this number is shrinking, is becoming smaller. When the INSAM was founded in 1997, the number was higher. And we have only one PhD specifically in agrometeorology. Of course, you can do a PhD in agronomy or tree science and then have a thesis on agrometeorology. So I think this is a big problem in Italy at the moment because these topics is with climate change becoming more and more important, and adaptation and mitigation, but mainly adaptation, is becoming crucial for the food production. Again and again, we have critical years where the food produced is not enough for the country and we need to buy from somewhere else. Cereals, for example. As you probably know, we eat a lot of pasta, so we don't have enough cereals produced in Italy and we need to buy somewhere else. So this is going to be a big problem in the near future if climate change increase in the way it is. So, okay. So this was a quick overview on what's going on in mainly universities, and also, as I said, other public research centers. And now I leave the floor to Chiara because she's going to speak about the research specifically in her institute, which is part of the Italian Ministry of Agriculture. So Chiara, please,
yes.
The floor is yours.
Good afternoon to everybody. And I want to First of all, I want to thank Dr. Chattopadhyay for the possibility to be here with you today. First of all, I want to talk briefly about my institution, the Council for Agricultural Research and Analysis of Agricultural Economics, the CREA. CREA is the leading Italian research organization dedicated to the agri-food supply chains. We operate as a legal entity under public law, and we are supervised by the Ministry of Agricultural, Food, and Forestry. Our scientific activity covers agricultural crops, livestock, fishery, forestry, agro-industry, food science, and socioeconomics. Go on, Francesca, please. Thank you. CREA is organized in 12 research centers, which are forming a capillary network of structures throughout the country, with more than 15 researchers. 6 centers are related to specific supply chains, and the other 6 are dedicated to horizontal topics. These latter lead missions related to transversal disciplines in agriculture, concerning the agri-food sector and agro-industry, food and nutrition, as well as European national agricultural policies. The name of my research center is Agriculture and Environment Center. Go on. Thank you. And let's move to to Agrometeorology project. I'm the person in charge of this project. It aims to act on some weaknesses of agrometeorology in Italy related to research and knowledge, decision support and coordination of the regional agrometeorological services. As you have seen before in the presentation of Francesca, in Italy there are 20 regions, and each region has its agrometeorological service. Agrometeorology project is developed within the National Rural Network, the program with which Italy participates in the wider European project, the European Rural Network, that accompanies and integrates all activities related to the development of rural areas. And what about agrometeorology? We conduct a continuous process that aims to integrate existing agrometeorological resources and share them in order to strengthen and develop skills, improve the availability of agrometeorological data at the national level, provide technical support to Italian Ministry of Agriculture in defining the context of agricultural policy in order to enhance agrometeorological skills in the future rural development policy. And we coordinate the activities of the National Coordination Table in the agrometeorology sector, a control room among the Ministry of Agriculture, CREA, and regional agrometeorological and phytosanitary services. And today I'm going to talk about 2 points, the main points. The activities of the National Coordination Table in the agrometeorology sector, and our working tools, the agrometeoclimatic indicators. The National Coordination Table has been created in 2016 on the proposal of the Italian Ministry of Agriculture, and it is formed by representatives of the regional agrometeorological and phytosanitary services and CREA. Its aims are the coordination of activities in the agrometeorological field, the promotion of the role of agrometeorology, the identification of the needs of the different regional realities, and to establish the most effective ways of sharing and integrating available tools. And it was born from the need for coordination at a national level expressed by the regional services themselves. As I said before, the National Coordination Table is a control room among ministry, regional agrometeorological and phytosanitary service. We organize in collaboration with the Italian Association of Agrometeorology technical meetings where we address specific issues relevant for the regional service. For example, in the last year, we have dealt with issues such as spatialization of agrometeorological data, water balance and irrigation platforms, agrometeoclimatic indices, and agricultural policy. This activity allows us to understand what degree of development the services have reached on these issues and what are the difficulties that must be overcome through sharing of knowledge and tools and the identification of new support tools. So now I'm going to talk about to focus my presentation on our works. The monitoring of climate variability through the use of agrometeorological indicators can be a useful tool for managing meteorological risk in agriculture in Italy. The choice of indicators must take into consideration some criteria from our point of view. First of all, the availability of data for the calculation, and this is a topic that greatly influences the choice. The ability to describe the relationship between agricultural production and weather climate. The possibility of being represented as differences from the climate, so changes in the quantities. For the identification of extreme events, they must allow the use of a statistical distribution on a local scale, the percentiles and not of fixed thresholds of values. Only in this way, for us, it is possible to give weight to the geomorphological variability of our territory. At the end, the agrometeoclimatic indicators must allow agrometeoclimatic monitoring at a different territorial scales and be able to describe the evolution of weather climatic conditions. The data source. Currently, our reference data source consists in the reanalysis datasets available in the Copernicus Climate Change Service. Copernicus is the European Union flagship program for monitoring the Earth's environment using satellite and in-situ observations. It delivers operational data and information services on a range of topical areas, and it is implemented by ICMWF. The Copernicus Climate Change Service provides information about the past, the present, the future climate in Europe and in the rest of the world. And most of all, it offers free and open access to climate data and tools. And you can see the web address of the Copernicus website. And the calculation of agrometeo indicators requires a complete data series with high temporal and spatial resolution. We use in particular two datasets. ERA5 land, which has an hourly temporal resolution and a spatial resolution of about 9 kilometers in our latitudes, and ERA5 and the other dataset, ERA5, which has an hourly temporal resolution and a spatial resolution of quite 30 kilometers in our latitude. The two datasets has release delay, 3 months for ERA5 land and 5 days for ERA5. And yes. I forget to say that ERA5 datasets provide gridded hourly estimates for a large number of atmospheric ocean wave land surface quantities from 1979 to today. Thank you. So how we monitor temperature? We calculate with Copernicus data, using Copernicus data, minimum, maximum, and average temperature at different time resolution. So daily, monthly, yearly temperature. And then we calculate the minimum, maximum, average temperature anomalies. That is a difference in Celsius degrees between the average value of the period and the respective value of the climate reference. For us, our climate reference is the period from 1981 to 2010. Then we calculate absolute minimum and maximum monthly temperature and monthly thermal sum with the different thresholds. So thermal sum with temperature greater than or equal to 0, 10, and 15 Celsius degrees every month. And we calculate also the anomaly with respect to the relative climatology. Now, thank you. How we monitor precipitation? We calculate precipitation anomalies, that is difference in millimeters between the total of the period, that can be daily, monthly, or yearly, and the respective value of the climate reference. And the precipitation difference, that is monthly total minus climate value, and as a ratio, monthly total minus climate value divided by climate value, expressed as a percentage. And the rainy days, with the total amount between 5 and 10 millimeters and between 10 and 20 millimeters, quantities to be monitored in agriculture in Italy. For the monitoring of precipitation, we use also the hydroclimatic balance. That is the difference between monthly precipitation and potential evapotranspiration expressed in millimeter. In this table, the indicator is reported as a difference between monthly precipitation value and climatic value for each single year, starting from 2003 up to 2018 for Italy. So you can see in the middle of the graphic black line, which represents the average calculated on the climate period, above the positive deviation from average and below the negative deviation from average. So each red histograms represent drought conditions. Then we, through the Italian Phenological Network, the INSAM project, we can monitor also the phenological cycle of some species. We have a phenological network over Italy, and we collect observed data for grapevine, olive, and black locust and chestnut. The latter are species, are very important species for the production of honey. So we collect observed data in a phenological database, and we have developed also mathematical models that allow us to produce analysis maps, as you can see in this picture. The analysis maps describe the phenological development cycle of the observed species for the entire national territory over time. More, with the phenological data, we are able to to calculate specific phenological indicators. Here there is an example of first flowering date indicator for grapevine. The phenological phase are estimated using the INSAM phenological model. And the first flowering corresponds to the stage 61 of the BBCH code. And here the map represents the difference from the climatic value of the dates of beginning of flowering for the year 2019. And you can see the red cells represent areas in which the date of the beginning of flowering occurred earlier. In blue, those late, compared to the climate period, of course. So let's move to indicators of extreme events. Extreme weather events affect the Italian territory periodically with major impacts and extensive damage. Agriculture is, in fact, the most exposed and vulnerable to climate change, with projections that include increase in average temperatures, change in rainfall patterns, increase in extreme weather phenomena leading to disaster, as reported in the IPCC of the 2013. So, starting from the work of the expert team on climate change detection and indices, and other works in literature, we have chosen some indices considering these criteria. The possibility of taking into account the territorial variability, so the use of percentiles for the estimations of extreme events, the comparability of results, and need to provide information on a national and subnational scale. So we start with the standardized precipitation evapotranspiration index, calculated at a step of 6 months, chosen to describe a drought condition in agriculture. And here, the indicator is calculates for each month. The indicator compares the effective precipitation, so the cumulative precipitation minus potential evapotranspiration accumulated in the previous 6 months, with that of the same interval calculated on the distribution of the availability time series. The indicator defines severity classes. So red cells represent drought situations, and blue cells represent water surplus conditions. In this panel, we have chosen 3 years, 2020, 2070, and 2003, years that presented drought conditions in the month of May and June. But this indicator is also able to, this indicator gives us the opportunity to study not only the drought event itself, but also the conditions that led to that event. So, what is happened in the previous months. We monitor also extreme maximum temperature, that is a percentage of days of the month when the maximum temperature exceeds the 19th percentile of the day. For the calculation of the daily percentile, an interval of 5 days centered on the considered one is adopted. So also here you can see the panel with the years 2020, 2070, the comparison among 2020, 2070, and 2003. Go on, thank you. And the same we do also for the extreme minimum temperature, that is the percentage of days in the month when the minimum temperature exceeds the 19th percentile of the day. Go on. We monitor also the warm and cold spell duration index. that is the yearly number of days for the warm spell is the yearly number of days included in periods of at least 6 consecutive days with maximum temperature greater than the 19th percentile of the climate distribution. For the cold spell is the yearly number of days included in periods of at least 6 consecutive days with minimum temperature above the 10th percentile of the climatic distribution. So you can see the number of warm and cold spell during from 2000 from the first year to the last one of the period. Gone. Thank you, Francesca. The last agrometeoclimatic indicators is the total daily precipitation greater than 19th percentile. That is the annual sum of precipitations in days where daily precipitation exceeds the 19th percentile of the climate distribution. So in this figure, the blue histogram represents the total amount of precipitation for the year, and the red histogram represents the quantity of daily precipitation that had exceeded the 19th percentile. And the indicators presented up to now can be linked to phenological development cycle. They can be calculated in the period of the year when the crops is in a phenological phase particularly susceptible to extreme events for potential damage to production and quality. So we calculate the minimum or maximum temperature anomalies, that is the difference in Celsius degrees between the average value of the period and the respective value of the climate reference from in specific periods, minimum temperature from budding to flowering, maximum temperature from pre-veraison to maturation. Or, for example, another example, the anomalies of precipitation, that is the difference in millimeters between the total of the period and the respective value of the climatic reference during flowering and during maturation. In conclusions, the relevance of the impact of climate changes on the frequency of occurrence and intensity of extreme events is a widely discussed topic in Italy. Italian agriculture presents an heterogeneity of productions and meteoclimatic conditions that require particular attention on the management of meteorological risk. Agrometeoclimatic analyses are relevant, they are useful tools to support agricultural policy, and they allow us to carry out research and to make calculations available at the national level. Thank you very much, and Federico, it's up to you.
Okay, thank you, Chiara. Thank you, Francesca. Can you hear me? Yes, correctly? Yes?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Thank you in advance. Thank you very much for your initiative and for inviting us. And it's a good occasion, a good, important occasion to show what we can do in Italy, what we are doing in Italy, and what is the situation in Europe and in Italy at the different scales, with the national scale that Chiara showed us, and also at the regional stage which that I represent. As Francesca told us, I represent the service operational service, an agrometeorological service, a phytopathological service in the northwest Italy. In Italy we have 20 regions, and each region has his own service, more or less developed. But at the moment, before all, I would like to underline one aspect, an important aspect. It is very important for services, for indicating the way that a service has to follow to develop agriculture and to develop services. This aspect is the importance of the European community. The European community and the possibility and the capacity of the European community of producing regulation. So there are lots of regulations defined by European community that regards agriculture, and in particular there are many regulation aspects and topics that involve agrometeorology. This aspect is very, very important for us that have to develop services for agrometeorology for agriculture. So at the European Union level, there are some many regulations whose purpose is to develop agriculture in all its modern aspects. Agricultural development policies are the basis for improving agriculture with respect to environment and of the health of consumers. These are new frontiers in comparison with the agriculture of about 40, 50 years ago. Recently, we have a great attention, the European community has a great attention to the environmental aspects and the health of consumers. But thanks to these community policies and regulation, agriculture, farmers and agriculture in general receives funds to modernize and to become more technological and environmental. Obviously, it is necessary to respect some rules. The European community gives us some money, some funds, but we have to respect the rules and the guidelines that are suggested and imposed at the European level. I want to underline that these guidelines and rules are indicated by research, world research activities. So this is the link between one of the links between research and services and the policies and development of policies. So the role of agrometeorology is becoming more and more important for many aspects and for the application of modern cultivation techniques, but not only the application of modern cultivation techniques. Also other aspects are involves agrometeorology. The next one. Okay. Some years ago, the European community introduced this concept that is the integrated crop management. ICM is a system of crop production which conserves and enhances natural resources while producing food on an economically viable and sustainable foundation. This is a definition, one of the thousands of definitions of integrated crop management. The aim of ICM is to minimize dependence on purchased inputs and to make the fullest possible use of indigenous technical knowledge and land use practices. This is the practice that in the past years we have to follow to develop agriculture. In the context of ICM, we also can find the IPM, Integrated Pest Management. That is a part of ICM that deals with the pest and disease management. The next one. Thank you. In this context, European community developed other kind of regulation, that is the regulation regarding sustainable use of pesticides. This regulation defined at the national level is translated in national action plans, and the national action plans now is going to be revised. This national action plan contains a specific citation about agrometeorological support and the need to organize structures and services at the national regional level. And these services must be able to respond to the regulatory and operational needs of the agricultural world for the rationalization of resources and for the correct application of IPM techniques. There are also other contexts, regulatory contexts that involve agrometeorology. Francesca already cited the precision farming. Precision farming is the future, and now the European national regulation takes into account these practices that aims to develop the farming more precious in order to don't waste resources and use less chemical substances. With 2017, as we approved the guidelines at national level for the development of precision farming in Italy. In particular, the chapter 1.2 established that the application of technologies need agrometeorological and climatic information based on complete and homogeneous data at the national level. The next one. Okay, this is the directive that regards the sustainable use of pesticide that establish a framework for community action to achieve the sustainable use of pesticide. The next one. The National Action Plan referred to the sustainable use of pesticide promotes many actions, and among these actions there is the development and application of pests and pathogens forecasting and warning systems, standardization of existing forecasting models, validation of existing models in different territories, provision of software platform, very important, which enables organizations to collect, standardize, and disseminate, elaborate and disseminate information. This is the road that regulation suggests us, and we as services have to follow and develop our services in this direction. The next one. Another context in which obviously agrometeorology is widely involved is climate change and all the activities to give services and support for adaptation and mitigation of climate change. The next one. Okay. How can agrometeorological services contribute in this, all these contexts, climate change, pest and disease, and so on? We can, as local services or national services, provide forecast activities or prevention activities or activities for emergency management. So we have to provide activities for the long, medium, and short period, and this means make forecasts of future scenarios and the effects of mitigation and adaptation activities. This is called forecast. But we have at the regional level, it's very, very important study and certain and establish prevention activities like planning of territories of structures, programming, research, establishment of structure and service, and also provide training and information activities. Carry on training information activities. Very, very important in order to train and to make to disseminate the information also to farmers and contractors. Emergency management means that we have to use in real time the supports and services established in the previous activities of prevention and forecast. One. So regulation tells us that member states have to assure monitoring and distribution of climatic and meteorological information, improve monitoring system and network for biotic and abiotic disease control, improve pest and disease data processing in relation to meteorological data and dissemination of information, set up forecasting and warning services, also using models, organize operational services to apply ICM, IPM, and biological approaches for technical systems. And we have to implement informatic tools and support, decision support system in order to make for a better management of farm and field information. Next one. So this is a framework, a scheme that we can follow to give services to farmers and advisors. Some information must arrive to farmers, but other information, on my opinion, must be dedicated to technicians and advisors, and must be by them interpreted and then reported to agriculture. In this scheme, I put in the center the platform, the informatic platform. There is a microphone open. Pardon. Okay.
Yes.
There is a noise. Oh.
But you can, we can hear you well.
Okay. I can go on. Yeah. Okay. And so, if we put in the center an informatic platform, we can collect, we can include in this informatic platform models, climatic, phenological, pest and disease models, data deriving from monitoring and data sets, forecast services, land protection service, water balance model, GIS, cartography, remote sensing information, and so on. So we have to build these boxes in which we put all the results of research. Next one. Thank you. So this should be a framework, a technical and operational framework useful for services. So we start with agrometeorological and field data on the left, with agrometeorological station, but very, very important are also information, field information, that technicians and advisors must collect, because it's very, very important to have information, field information. Then we have to put and concentrate all this information in the platform, in which we also can include models and tools for decision support system and forecasting products in order to give to farmers and advisors information, useful information and operational information. Please close the microphones. Okay, thank you. Okay. Obviously, in this box, in this green box, we have to put the instruments and the tools that research activities and projects establish, studies, and give to services this information. The next part, the right part, is to disseminate this information. Now we can divulgate and disseminate by web, by email, by bulletins, and so on. And so almost also Italian services have their own web services and services dedicated to advisors and to partners. Okay, next one. So in this box, we can put models for the estimation of climatic variables and bioclimatic indices. Next one. Or we can also use spatial information and give spatial information about solar radiation, other variables, climatic variables, or mapping of other indices. Next one. So we can put also in this box forecast, numerical weather forecast, in order to provide a provisional tool for farmers. Next one. We have also models, entomological models. This is an example of a mechanicistic and phenological model used in Italy to show the development of insects for agriculture. Next one. Phytopathological models. On the left, you can see a complex scheme of an actual model of Plasmopara viticola. But on the right, you can see the service, the decision support system, the platform that can give information, graphical and numerical information to advisors and to farmers in order to give a provision for the plant protection activities. Next one. We also have research give also us important models about that are not so used at the moment for estimation of climatic variety and simulation of processes between soil, vegetation, and atmosphere. Next one. And so you can see that all regions in Italy can provide a web service in which they include information about models, about bulletins, and other important tools for decision tools dedicated to farmers and agriculture. Next one.
Sorry.
Okay, this is the last one. And so, how can agrometeorological service contribute to to improve agriculture and to respect the regulations? We have to integrate and coordinate policies regarding IPM, ICM, climate change, and define correct guidelines and action. We have to work with an integrated approach among all the actors of the ecosystem. As you can understand, this is a chain that in which the actors of the chain, the ring of the chain, are the actors for giving the services. If a ring of the chain is weak, the process stops and can't go on. In Italy, we have to integrate all the competences. Simulate the scenarios for crop growth, investigate the dynamic of host pathogens and interaction. We have to do a lot of things, and we also have to work in developing structures at regional level, and national level, and local level. In this way, all the supports that research can give us can be translated in services, in operational and useful services for agriculture. I want to thank for your attention. Our presentation is concluded, and we are here to talk for you. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to Francesca, Federico, and Chiara for giving a very wonderful and interesting presentation, mentioning the different dimension of the studies and operational service that are going on in Italy. You have touched from the responsibility of the association, what exactly they are. This is very, very enlightening actually for other association in the world to follow some of the examples you have cited. And also the research point of view. We have done extensive research. Even Federico has shown the simulation in soil and atmospheric model, and you have been using the NWP also. And another very interesting thing, what Chiara has mentioned, that monitoring of the temperature, precipitation indicators, agroclimatic indicators, that's wonderful. And more especially the phenological indicators. I mean, very few countries these days, we are doing very elaborate study on the phenology of this thing. And at the end, Federico, you have done wonderful job, but you have shown that kind of European, kind of regulations, and then you have gone to the different indices, different parameters, and how the simulation is going on. So in a nutshell, I mean, last I think 1 hour and 15 minutes, we have heard all the participants, members, they have hearing your presentation so minutely. So now the floor is open to all the members. They may ask any questions to the speaker. But I am requesting all of you, just who will speak, he is unmute and others should make mute so that the question may be heard very clearly. So over to all the members and the participants for question answer session. Any question from Dr. L.S. Rathore?
So clear?
Not really. I really enjoyed all three presentations and the excellent presentation. It was on enlightening, and we really are able to broaden our horizons through learning as to what is being done in Italy. My compliments and thank you very much sharing information with all of us. Over.
Dr. Ramakrishnan. Dr. Y.S. Ramakrishnan.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think they are very excellent presentations. I congratulate Francesca and Chiara and Federico. There are some interesting points from this presentation. In spite of being a small country compared to India, they are doing very good work, which are of more of practical importance, especially on this philological monitoring, and especially, but they have done much on grapes, and that's very interesting. In fact, I think we should also learn to add these type of issues in our weather advisories, especially on the crop phenology, how the crops are performing, where some of the phenological events are coming earlier or late. So what the farmers should really do. I think this kind of information will give us more value to the agro advisories. I think that's one excellent thing they're doing. And I understand they're conducting a workshop during this 30th June to 2nd of July. Some conference is going on. So maybe if they invite us, we could join, and maybe we can suggest some of the things what we are doing and also learn from the conference discussions, if it is possible. That's one point I would like to make. And this National Action Plan for Sustainable Use of Pesticides is another important aspect, because pesticide use is very extensive. As agrometeorologists, I think we are not doing much in our advisories. We are just saying that don't use pesticides, but we should give some kind of meteorological parameters of early warning of the pests, so that minimal pesticide is used for controlling the pests. I think this aspect again has to take focus in our agro advisories, because we again go back to agronomic practices of telling apply this much of pesticide, but that's not the idea. The idea is you have bio-pesticide control. Means what is the use of having the weather information if we have to still have to apply all the pesticide? So how we can reduce the pesticide load, and how you can make biological control of the pests, that should become a focus in our agro advisories. There are a few points that just came to my mind. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a specific question to Chiara, that you are from that Council of Agriculture Research and Economics in Italy. I mean, what are the activities you have showed, and what Federico has showed? Have you make any kind of economic assessment of the ongoing services in Italy and how this adds to the value of the GDP in the country of these services. I mean, if you can just let us know any kind of study you have done onto that.
May I start answering something about phenology? That was one of the points that Dr. Ramakrishna said. So what I want to say about phenology is that we started working on phenology at the beginning of the years 2000. So it's almost 20 years now. There is a lot of work and needs to be very, focused, because if you want to learn about plant phenology, you have to follow the plant rhythm and cannot miss one day of monitoring, so there is a lot to do, but it's very useful. Now we have, in my region, that is Emilia-Romagna, the red one, we have a bulletin that is produced weekly, and the farmers, they know exactly in the region, there is a map, how is the plant phenology of the main crops, cereals, maize, grapevine, depending on where you are. So these help them to organize the management of the farm, and also gives an idea of the market. So when the crop will be ready for the market, which is an economical strong point to organize the economy of the area. So the work that we did is very well rewarded now by these products that are operational, which means that every week someone goes to the field and look at the plants and a bulletin is produced. So I really advise, and of course we can give all the help in understanding how it works and which are the scale to be used and the protocols and so on. And it is very rewarding as a work at the end when it's all set. Okay. And maybe Federico want to say something about plant diseases on the other side.
I would like to add just one thing, that in my institution, I think that this is the one that I presented is maybe the only work on phenology that is developed on the entire territory of Italy, in the sense that each regional service has its phenological monitoring, but it is strictly linked to the question of pest management. While our monitoring, phenological monitoring, is linked, for example, regarding the chestnut and locust tree, as I said before in my presentation, that are species, very important species for the production of honey. In this year, we had in the first decade of April a late frost that has damaged the flowering of Robinia pseudacacia. So this year, apiculture has a great has lost this production, and consider that acacia honey is one of the most expensive honey here in Italy, and it is widely brought all'estero, come si dice?
From abroad.
Esatto. So it's a way of monitoring for us very, very important, and we are strictly in line with the honey producers.
There is also another aspect, which is the pollen and the allergies also. So again, the same data can be used in this case by physicians from another point of view, no? And are the same data, because one of the main production of allergenic pollens is olive oil, olive trees, and which is part of the monitoring. So there is also this other aspect.
Dr. Novanshu.
About the plant protection activities.
Yes. Yes, continue.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity. This is Dr. Kamal, working as Project Director for Agrometeorological Information Systems Development Project in Bangladesh. It's my pleasure to join such an important and relevant webinar organized. So first of all, I convey my heartfelt thanks from my project. You know, we are working similar work in Bangladesh under Agrometeorological Information System Development Project, and Dr. Navanshu knows very well because he was our senior consultant with our project. And you know, we issued district bulletin, national bulletin, and special bulletins. So my first query is that what types of bulletins Italy issued and frequency of that. And another thing is that I am finding the area of improvement in our BAMIS portal, that is, you know, Bangladesh Agrometeorological Information System, that is only the authenticated organizations for agromet services in Bangladesh. So we are really proud of it, and we always look for area of improvement. So here I saw that Italy is working along with the forecasting. They're working also on IPM and ICM. So it's a good dimension. So I'm picking it and I will incorporate it in our BAMIS portal as well. And another query is that, you know, we have the real advisory committee here. We received the real-time and forecast informations from the Bangladesh Meteorological Department and Bangladesh Water Development Board, and then our advisory committee sit on that issues and also you know, analyze different international and regional websites, IMD and other websites as well, and then we prepare the information suitable for the farmers, and then we convey it through different extension methods. So I'll not go details. So do you have any advisory committee like this, and what are the source of informations you received, like us, BMD or Water Development Board, or such kind of source you might have? So these are the points I issued, and I appreciate highly Francis idea, you know, presented nice, and it is really helpful for me as well. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Nabanso?
Who's speaking?
Yep, Brunini, Brunini, let us, Francesca, Federico, or Chiara can respond to Dr. Kamal's, request.
Okay, I want to answer Kamal regarding the argument of bulletins. The bulletins are produced by regional services, so we have a small scale, as you can understand, because the regions in Italy are quite little. And so it depends on several things. The frequency of bulletins are weekly, mainly weekly during the vegetative period, depending on the type of cultivation, so viticulture, fruit trees, hazelnut, and horticulture. The bulletins are at the weekly intervals. Then for cereals, the bulletins are at the weekly, 15 days, one bulletin every 15 days, because the information are less, the frequency is less important, in particular for plant protection. Plant protection for viticulture, fruit trees, and so on, you can understand that it's more important with and higher frequency. But this depends, as I tried to say, on the regions, on the reality of and the organization of each region, and this is a really problem, because there are regions like Emilia-Romagna and Veneto and Northwest Italy, Central Italy, not East Italy, that are more developed than others. Instead, in other little regions, the services are not so developed, and also the supports that we can decision support system that we can provide are very different from region to region. So we have lots of supports that we can give to advisors and to technicians and to farmers, but we need more informatic structures. This is probably one of the most important structures that we need to elaborate the information, to spread the information, and to use and to make this information usable by farmers and technicians. Regarding the IPM, I think the question of Dr. Ramakrishna, I think that it's the aim of the National Action Plan is to minimize the use of pesticides. So the strategies are reduce the pesticides, the number and the typology of pesticides. We have to take away we don't have to use the most dangerous pesticides. And the second aim is to make a rational use of this pesticide. This means that you have to choose the best moment in which you have to distribute this pesticide. And in order to choose the best moment to distribute, this is also a kind of precision farming, precision in time. You must need forecast services, models in order to interpret the behavior of pathogens and insects, and in this way you can decide when what is the best moment to distribute the pesticide, and which is the best pesticide you have to give. This is one of the main aims of national action plans that is then used by regional services. There are also other aims in the national use of pesticide, but if you want to give how these regulations are done and what there is included in these regulations, you can visit the websites of European and national services, and you can also download this information and these documents.
Now it is over to Dr. Riveldo Brunini from Brazil. Over to Brunini.
I have subsidiary question. I'm not clear about few issues. If you permit me, please. I was talking about the advisory committee. You didn't mention about that issues, and then source of information based on the bulletins are issued. Like in our country, meteorological department and the water development board, they provide the informations and the forecast and other relevant informations based on the real-time data and the informations. We issue different types of bulletins. So please clarify about that issues. And another is my suggestion. You could think about that. That is, we issued three types of bulletins. Number one is national bulletin. We usually issue it once in a week, and district bulletin. For each district, we issue twice in a week for the area specific, and the special bulletin we issued in case of any natural climate is hit any region, any area of our country. Based on the depending on the situation, we issued a special bulletin. So three types of bulletins we usually issued, and it is very fruitful for the farmers and the other stakeholders relevant to these services, especially the extension officials and the ministries, planners, input providers, the farmers, all are getting benefit from this type of bulletin. So you may think about these issues, and let me know about your advisory committee and the basic information you received, source of information. Thank you so much. Francisco, unmute please and then talk. We are not hearing you.
Sorry. No, I was asking, your question was about our sources of information for the bulletins. Yeah. Is that right? Each district, as you said, each region has his own network of stations. But right now, things are evolving toward the satellites and the gridded data. My colleagues spoke about Sentinel, the satellites that Europe launched for all the people in Europe, or maybe the North Hemisphere. So at this moment, I think the evolution will be toward no more or just a few very reliable weather station on the ground to check how the satellite is working. But then you can have this data for free from the satellite, and this is probably the future. And we think it will be the future mainly for countries that they don't already have a strong network on the ground. So why put now a strong network on the ground when it's possible to have data from remote sensing, let's say remote sensing. And this, if it works, there is a lot of work to see how good are those data. And seems to be pretty good. In this case, we all, where the satellite look, we can all have this data. Another thing is the plant and insects data that are needed for the model of plant phenology and plant disease of different kind, insects and pathogens and so on. In that case, you need for sure ground truth data for the models to develop and calibrate the models, and that's a lot of work. Specific. Okay. I hope I answered your
Yeah. I
now
got it.
we are having time constraint now. Okay. So now over to Brunini.
Thank you, Amanso. I want to congratulate Chiara, Francesca, and Federico for a very nice and very excellent presentation this morning for this late afternoon in the other part of the world. Particularly, I enjoyed what Chiara has presented about climate indicator, deviation of precipitation, and the grapevine phenology. So I go through those papers to see what can do that here back in São Paulo State. I think that's a very good way, even for rainfall anomaly. What you have presented was a very good work about operational agrometeorology. That's really very important. I know Federico for a long time, so it means that keep doing a very good work. Let's congratulate to all of you, please.
Thank you, Brunini. Over to Professor Bhashne.
Thank you, Dr. Chattopadhyay. I am really very glad to see the whole work which is going on in Italy. Particularly the bioindexes impressed me. Moreover, the things which are being done on phenological aspects, etc. One thing which I would like to know more, either today or in future, that India is having at a time number of crops, multiple crops are there. I think Italy will also be having so many crops, but your main crop might be wheat or something like that. So do you take the phenological observations only for your main crop, or you take for other crops also? Because in our area, there are number of crops, and for all those crops, the phenological observations, pest observation or pathological observations, they become very important, because one plant is the host of the pest of other plant. So like that, the complexity goes on. How you are handling the multiple crops in Italy? And second thing, I would like to know what observations are you taking for animals? Because in our country, animal aspects are also very important. And usually farmers are those who are having the land, and those who go for crops, they are also having animals. So usually people do ask us about the forecast for crops, for their pest and diseases, and then they go for the animals. So what type of the services, what type of the observations, what type of the bioindexes are you using for animals? Thank you. Over to Chattopadhyay.
For the first question, how many crops we monitor? Few crops from our point of view. And the problem is a question of money, because, for example, the phenological monitoring of locust tree, and so Robinia pseudacacia, in the INSAM project has been developed thanks to voluntary observers, in the sense that beekeepers are our phenological observers. So they go on the field and give us back phenological data, and they have the phenological maps. So regarding chestnut and locust tree, the monitoring is based on about talking about the species that are important for the honey production. We have a network of volunteers that are beekeepers. Regarding olive and grapevine, we have the help of the technicians of each regional agrometeorological service. that give us this kind of data. It's a big deal to organize a network, a national network, because we need people that are able to do the phenological observation. So you need to prepare these people to do this kind of work. And for example, we have a problem because we have Italian, our data are weekly data, while in the rest of Europe, the phenological monitoring is developed each day, is a daily monitoring. So, for example, in the past, we had the opportunity to participate on international project with our phenological data, but it was not possible because of this difference. Our data are weekly, the European data, phenological data are daily, and so they cannot be put all together, no? So there are problems. There are problems to do this kind of work. So a few for us, we monitor few crops.
Thank you, Chiara. We have with us Dr. A.K. Sudha from Australia.
Yes.
Dr. Huda, please.
Thank you. Really enjoyed the presentations. But right from the beginning, when Chiara was presenting about the phenology of first flowering to grapes, and then Francesca mentioned about the marketing aspects. So I've been thinking in my mind since then, while listening, what sorts of, and then you just raised this point for Chiara, that there's a discrepancy or differences between observed data like daily versus weekly. Now, in the modeling, when you do, that's what I'm thinking about. But I did visit Simone Orlandi in 2007 in Florence. And at that time, we were discussing about this disease and all those issues. So I'm just trying to think how sophisticated or complicated your phenology model is. For example, if I want to know the first flowering to the grapes that we mentioned, or the marketing readiness for a crop like wheat, what sorts of modeling information do you, in climate data, is just a temperature, photo period, or do you bring anything more complicated in terms of the modeling aspects? If somebody can just give me a bit an idea about it. I'm sure you can read that in a paper, but then how do you really operationalize it? One is you do that, and then operationalizing, like Dr. Kamal was mentioning about from Bangladesh kind of thing, right? So this is a very intriguing point. I'm listening with very intent because it's operationalizing. One is modeling and then applying. So anybody can make a comment on that, please, about you.
I think we can say different things, Chiara and I, because I'm involved in the bulletin at a regional level here in Bologna, in Emilia-Romagna. And here the service, the operational service that produced the bulletin has a modeling at the territorial level. They do the water and nitrogen budget. So it's a very rich and complex model. And using the field data of plants, phenological field data at a week time step, they also, well, they write the bulletin, but also they make the forecast, let's say forecast, for the cereals mainly. We have cereals, and then we have potato, which are, and maize, which is a cereal too. These are the main crops in this area. And so there is a market that is interested. And for example, we don't have anything about grapevine because the wine produced in my region is really horrible. So there is doesn't make sense. Okay, and so this is an aspect, a reality, let's say. Chiara can say different things, I think, because she has the national level and a different kind of crops. If you want to say something, Chiara. The microphone. Chiara, the microphone.
Sorry. Our phenological models are driven only by temperatures and have been calibrated with our data, and the parameters, the models, the mathematical model is quite the same for the species we monitor, but the parameters are different. We try to use the simplest way to represent our territory. So our models are simple from this point of view, because they have to represent Italy that has a great geomorphological, different geomorphological aspects. So we need something of simple. And that's all. I don't know if Federico wants to add something about it.
No, one of the problems is always to collect and feed the data for validation. This is a widespread problem because for this kind of activities we need lots of money that we don't have. But we are trying. I don't know if we could do this. We can define protocols. We can define guidelines. In this way, we can also spread this knowledge and promote the field investigation activities at regional level. But this is very difficult. It's very difficult to give a, how can I say, in many cases, field information, field activities start and then stop because money, because the lack of money. And this is a great problem to collect information, field information. If we could do something at national level, some programs, some initiatives, common initiatives between all the regions, we could try to do something. About cereals, we have in a small territory, we have so many varieties, so many cultivars of wheat and other maize and so on, that also phenology is an important information. But for us, for the operational service, is a sort of complementary information. It's not perhaps the best information. Most important information should be the productivities, the information about quantitative information, not qualitative. So perhaps this should be an explanation because we don't have so many informations about some cultivations like wheat, like maize.
Thank you. Now,
thank you.
Dr. Novasu?
Yes. Yeah, Archana. Yeah. Please.
So, Thank you, Dr. Novansu, for organizing this workshop, and thank you, Francesca, Federico, and Chiara for a nice presentation. That's very helpful. I have a quick two questions. One is very interesting thing that you talk about was the phenology, and like you have spent like 20 years of work to have this service of linking phenology and meteorology. Can you share that some of your work, like how you started, and how like the success stories, how you are doing this, and some of the products, if that is in English, because I'm from Nepal, working in the meteorological services, Department of Hydrology and Meteorology. And last year we just started a similar kind of activity that we felt that is necessary to link the phenology and the meteorology. So for we started for the wheat in one of the districts in Nepal. So if you can share some of the products, that would be very helpful. And second is, I understand that like Italy is also a hilly country. You have lots of hills. So what are the main challenges that you face being a hilly country in providing agrometeorological services? So these are two questions
This
that you
second is
suggest
a good
for
question.
Nepalese agrometeorological services. Thank you.
Well, we are just hilly. You are really with the mountains, so it makes a
Exactly.
difference. Anyway, I put a link on the chat here to the bulletins weekly, but they are in Italian. Anyway, you can take a look, because then the numbers and the maps are numbers and maps. I'm sure you can understand something. So we started with this project together with the regional service 20 years ago, and with the idea to check how plants were coping with the climate change. Then, of course, this is not spontaneous plants, but is cultivated. So the whole idea of adaptation at the beginning of the century was not clear to us. Anyway, we still keep on going with this, we call it agrophenological station, because it's very useful for the students. The students love to make thesis on this topic, because they can go to the field and watch the plant growing and developing, and they learn a lot. So at the moment, we of course share the data with the farmers, with the stakeholders, and with the regional service. But the real region, because it's still going on, is for the students, because it's very, very educational. And so it has several aspects. And doing this at a national level was our main purpose 20 years ago, but we didn't succeed because there's too much work. So our idea at the beginning was to learn ourselves first, then train someone in other regions, and in order to have several points. Italy is small, but is long, so there is a gradient of temperature and rainfall from the south to the north. So we wanted to have a gradient of phenological data, as Chiara showed for the chestnut and the grapevine and so on. But we didn't make it. So for the hilly, well, actually Federico and I live in the plain, so we know a lot about the plain. It's easier. There is a lot of modeling about data in the hills and in the mountains, in the mountain range, that is short mountain range, but still, but really I don't know much about it, so I'm not helped from this point of view. No, I don't know, maybe Federico lives in the
Yes. The Piedmont region is very hilly. It's always also plain, but viticulture is on hilly areas, and this is complicated our work. The answer for this problem, the answers are two. One for based variables like temperature, you have to develop techniques of spatialization of information. So for temperature, you have to build maps, to produce maps with multivariate techniques of spatialization of information. And so this if you are in a plan and you have, like in Piedmont, in our regions, the rice, no, it's not difficult because the differences are quite little, quite small. Instead, on ED area, you have to specialize the information and use the techniques for specialization of information, or you have to put to install lots of meteorological stations, because in these areas the satellite images can't give you an information so well defined as a meteorological station. So, in special for pest and disease controls, you must have a good number of ground stations to monitoring the information of liquid wetness, humidity, temperature, and rainfall, and also radiation and so on. If you look at the map of our station, but also in all hilly areas, you find the concentration of meteorological ground station in these hilly areas, in spite of the plain areas. And then you must have also a good service, advisory service on these areas, because the differences between in space of a few meters, a few hundred meters, can be very, very variable. So the suggestion is to organize well this service and organize a good number of meteorological stations, and of course of models that can run on a high number of meteorological stations.
Thank you very much. Over to Andrea from Argentina. Andrea, you have any question?
Yes. Yes.
Andrea.
I am Dr. Sable. Hello.
Sorry,
Dr. Sable, I'll be coming to you. I'm Andrea. Andrea,
okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, Navansu. No, thank you for excellent presentation. It's very important topic for we are working in agrometeorological service. All that. Thank you.
Over to Dr. Sable.
Yes. I am also thankful to Nabansu and all other Italian scientists, and they looking to their presentations were very nice about research programs and also about teaching programs. We could at least learn that how on which crops they are doing research, what kind of research they are doing, and looking to their presentations, I find that it was all the presentations were best presentations. I also worked in the Department of Agriculture Meteorology for so many years, and I find that the kind of work that is going on in Italy is also a very nice work, and on so many aspects they are working. And looking to their work and looking to their presentations, I am very happy today for Nabansu for organizing this workshop. And I think such workshop will be organized frequently so that we will have exchange of knowledge and we can learn what is going on in other countries also. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Over to GGS and Rao.
Thank you, all the speakers. Really, I could go through the Italy, the agricultural, the production, and the what type of research going on. It's excellent presentation. Just my only one single point is somewhere in Dr. Francesca has shown that the use of drones in agrometeorological services, how this is being used and where this is being used, and what are your results? Because if this is very, because if you can replace the satellite or using the drones in the regional scales or a small, you have a small farm of maybe 10 hectares or 20 hectares, is it possible to use these these drones and give the regional advisories? So what are your, actions, and also your plans and your activities on this? I want to know about it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we started working with drones maybe 5-6 years ago, and me and everybody else in Italy, there was like a big flame with this new topic, and now we kind of stopped because there are several problems. So the satellite is free, the drone costs money if you want to buy it, or most of the time we rent someone that comes and do the survey, because there is a very strict regulation. So driving a drone is more or less like driving a jet with 300 people on board, nearly the same. So it's complicated. And this is one point. But of course you can call someone and pay him for this survey. So the point in favor of drones is that fly, let's say 20-30 meters over your crop, and so the resolution maybe is too small, but you can see everything very well. The satellite goes on top of the clouds, so you have answer only if it's not cloudy. And the funny thing is that working on the ground, you look up and you say, okay, today is blue. But then looking from top, you look at the images, and going down is not blue, it's white, and you don't see anything. So yes, it's free, but maybe it's not available when you need it, because you need the image, the indicators of the water status, for example, of the plant in a short time, no? And if you have 1 week of clouds or 2 weeks of clouds, you're going to miss the phenological phase of interest or the spread of the disease and so on. So there is no clear answer to the question, is better to work with the drone, is better to work with the satellite, is better to have the possibility to use both. Also with the satellite, you have images only of your area with the drone. With the satellite, you have this huge, someone wrote on the chat, you need a good computer to process the images. It's exactly true. You need also to have a good informatic. I mean, I'm a physicist, I'm an agronomist, but not such a good informatic to deal with all this data. So it's complicated.
This will be very useful to monitor the pest and diseases. Say if because pest and disease through satellite is very difficult, but if you use drones, definitely, of course, some advanced, the farmers who are having some 100 or 200 hectares of land, it is possible for him to use the drones and to monitor these things. I think this is as you said, that is a very costly affair to maintain the drones. I think hopefully, in future,
some cheaper versions may be available, or maybe some people may go into that, or even the government may come into the picture and take this technology more into the agrometer advisory service. Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, though time is overshooting, but the interactions are very wonderful. And now a very brief session I will be taking, because the three scientists in India who is working exactly with the farmers, giving every time interacting with the farmers, giving the advisories, and somebody from the north, somebody from the south. So I'll be asking them if they have any kind of questions, or if they want to know from you. So first I will be requesting Dr. Samira from Jammu and Kashmir. Samira, floor is with you.
Thank you very much, sir, for giving me a chance to speak
If
in such
possible,
a...
you open your video, if possible.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, continue.
So, good evening, everybody, and I should once again thank Chattopadhyay sir for giving me a chance to speak in such a big forum where all the agrometeorologists are here. Sir, the thing is that we in India we have worked a lot about the agrometeorology, and now we are giving block level agro advisories to our people, farmers, and it has helped a lot because their production levels are increasing, because weather plays an important role in agriculture, especially for pests and diseases. Production levels are increased, and also we can monitor the growth. But the thing is that once we get into such interactions, we come to know about different things like use of drones. Sir, here we use drones for different purposes, but as far as agriculture is concerned, of course, it is a very costly affair, at least for developing countries and those farmers who are marginal. But at certain point of time, we can use it. For example, we see a number of climatic vagaries here. Hailstorms are very often here since because of the climate change, and also we have very unpredicted climatic changes here. For example, this year we can see that in June also we have very low temperature, and it seems like it is low by 2, 3, or even 4 degrees, and it is chill during night. So for that we can use different agro advisories, and if we are able to predict such temperatures or such climatic vagaries well in advance, just like we predict our monsoons, then we can at a certain point of time we can use such machinery in our farms, and we can help the farmers. For example, if we have hailstorms, then we can immediately our drones can take the pictures of those affected areas, and we can use that for insurance or some other purposes. So such things can be utilized, and we come to know about very good things from such interactions.
Yeah. Thank you, Samira, for your submission. And now over to Pratima. Pratima, you are with us? If not, then Ananta.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Actually, I am working as a principal scientist in IRA New Delhi. So I am also working in this project, GKMS. This is a Gramin Krishi Mausam Seva project. In this project, actually, we are receiving the forecast. We are doing medium range forecast is there. Now forecast is there, because due to this climate change, these extreme events are increasing. just like heavy rainfall, hailstorms. These extreme events, even temperature is during the February seasons in North region. Generally, we have a rabi crops. A rabi crops is wheat crops, and during that periods, the crop is in the milking stage or grain filling stage. The temperature is suddenly going up, even sometimes 4 to 5 degree above the normals. And these extreme temperature, they are very harmful to the crops, particularly during the grain filling or reproductive stage. So when we receive this forecast, whether this is medium range forecast or short range or nowcast from IMD, Indian Meteorological Department, we immediately we are giving the alert to the farmers in the form of either SMS, and also we have a WhatsApp groups, farmers WhatsApp groups, and through that WhatsApp groups we are giving this information to the farmers. Okay, these types of weather phenomena is there, and that is the past weather phenomena, and that this is the weather forecast for next 4 to 5 days. So based upon this forecast phenomena as well as past weather phenomena, in our research institute in IRA as well as in India, there are other universities is also doing R&D on this weather, crop weather interaction. So based upon that, we are giving the warning to the farmer, whether it is abiotic stresses in terms of your soil moisture stress or high temperature conditions, or whether it is a pest forewarning. Because there are so many models developed research by our elders as well as our seniors regarding just like aphid forewarning model is there, white rust model is there. So these all are models are based upon your weather related information, temperatures, rainfall like that, humidity like that. So based upon these information, we are supposed to know that these types of situation will be there. These types of biotic stress will coming in these crops, and our crop is in this phenological stage. So based upon this, we are giving the alert to the farmers. So within the times, the farmers is monitoring their crops and they are doing the management in the crops. So they are in the least risk in their crops, whether it is abiotic as well as biotic stress. So in terms of money also, resource saving also, they are getting a lot of benefits. So timely we are doing some feedbacks we are also taking from the farmers also, as well as this economic benefit, whether there is some economic benefit is there from our these advisories or these types of alerts we are giving to the farmers timely by SMS, as well as our others medium also, just like televisions, some radios like that. There are community radios, different channels are there, different mediums are there to disseminate this information to farmers. So there are feedback from the farmers. They are getting the benefit, and in this time situations, keeping view of this climate change and weather variabilities, this services is very much useful. So using our adaptation techniques or our mitigation technologies, whatever developed by our country as well as other countries in the world, we are taking these types of information and then we are transferring this information to the farmers. So thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to share my view in this forum. And I am also thankful to all scientists from the Italy for their wonderful and excellent presentations. Nice to meet you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Anand. Floor is open to the president of Agromet Association in India, to B.R. Pandey.
Thank you, Dr. Chattopadhyay, and all the dignitaries on the at this occasion webinar. And we are very happy to listen the activities being carried out in Italy and the Italian Association of Agrometeorology, which was formed contemporary when our Association of Agrometeorology in India was also formed in 1999. And since 99 itself, we started publication of Journal of Agrometeorology, which was earlier half yearly, appearing in June and June and December. Now we are publishing it quarterly, appearing in March, June, September, and December, having a good impact factor. Our association, of course, we have more than 1,800 life members and spread across the globe. About 35 international life members are there. Dr. Huda and Shiv Kumar, these are our initial life members, and many more from African countries and European countries and even Asia. Our, of course, main activities that organizing, publishing journals and organizing seminar, that is a common activity that continuously we are doing regularly. And but what we learned from Italy Association of Agrometeorology, that our association should also be linked with the actions and activities like action, how the agrometeorological services are useful for the farming community. That we will start whatever up till now we are concentrating mainly on the research activities. We have also instituted various awards for encouraging good quality research paper published in India in our journal as well as any journal of agrometeorological disciplines for best paper awards, even for best MSc thesis award, best PhD thesis award, and young scientist and fellow also we encourage. We have instituted various awards to encourage the research and education activities in India. And every year we are organizing seminar. Next seminar we have proposed to organize in Srinagar, Kashmir, most probably in the month of September, if possible. It will be it will be regular seminar, otherwise it will be in virtual mode maybe. But we are planning, if situation will improve, we will have this physical presence will also be there with a limited attendance. So that I thank the INSAM to give this opportunity, and we all the agrometeorological society in whether Brazil, Italy, or Korea and other countries, we would like to interact with each other and so that INSAM, either through INSAM or independently also, we can have a collaborative work or sharing of our research and other activities. So that's it. Thank you, Dr. Chattopadhyay, for giving me the opportunity, and thank the speakers and president of Italy Agrometeorological Association. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Pandit. Now over to Sudhindra Singh, Professor Sudhindra, who is the managing editor of Journal of Agrometeorology. Over to Professor Singh.
Yes, very good afternoon to all of you, Professor Chattopadhyay and my seniors in agrometeorology. My question is, what is the status of farmers in Italy, whether they are resourceful to adopt all those advisories? Because in India, most of the farmers are marginal and small, and sometimes it is very tough for them to adopt what we have advised. I wish to know from Francesco, Federico, and Chiara, what is the status of their farmers to adopt, whether they are resourceful to adopt all these advisories, or
I couldn't hear really well. Can you repeat?
what is the status of Italian farmers, whether they are resourceful to adopt these advisories?
Okay. Well, it depends. Again, is not the same everywhere. Now, most of the farmers are quite old in age, and they are not very resourceful. Let's say the grandchild of these people is taking on slowly, And most of these younger people comes from university or attended high school in agronomy, and so and of course they have more. It's more easy for them to use the technology. So we have this group, the people in between, the people with 40 years of age, they work in the bank. So they don't work in in the farm anymore. So this is the evolution that we are having. And then depends, most of the farms are very small. And so it's difficult with such a small amount of land to live on the farm. That's why the generation in between went to work in the bank. So the evolution at the moment is this one. So the young people wants to go back to the land, to the cultivation.
Is there any mechanism or support from federal government to compensate in case there is some loss of yield due to vagaries?
To help, you mean to help people? Yes, there is. I don't know how well it works, but there is. I mean, the government tried to bring back people to the country, because, as I said, at a certain point we eat a lot of pasta, but we don't produce enough wheat for the pasta. So we produce very specific crops, like wine, for example. I mean, grapevine, and that's a very rich compound. But then for everything else, we are not doing very well. But producing food is something that is very important. So the government is trying to bring people back to the country.
Okay, thanks, Dr. Nabansu. Over.
Nabansu, your microphone is closed.
Yes, thank you. We will be closing with after another two persons are waiting, one from Afghanistan and one from Sri Lanka. So I am going to Sri Lanka, Dr. Shiromani Jayawardene. Dr. Shiromani, you are with us. I think to Najibullah from Afghanistan.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for giving the time. I am Najibullah Usmani, the head of GIS and Agromet Department of MEL, Ministry of Agriculture, Irrigation and Livestock, Afghanistan. I'm sorry I joined later. When I joined 4 p.m. in Afghanistan, the workshop, the presentation was finished. I forgot that time is different. I'm sorry for that. Now I don't have any question. Just I want to share the presentation, please, for us to know. Thank you.
You're welcome, and I thank you, all of you, to listening to us and to asking so many questions. Interesting. It's always nice to share ideas, and I hope Dr. Nabansu will organize other webinars like this, so that we will have the opportunity to learn in the same way what's going on in other countries.
Thank you, Francesca, Federico, and Chiara. Wonderful presentations and introductions. Actually, if you remember the first meeting of Executive Council, we were discussing that how the case studies and this kind of program, each country will be helping others who are not having. I think slowly we are getting our target and goal. And today, one of the example, all three of you have showed, and all the participants still are more than 2.5 hours is there. People still are there. So a lot of interesting are there. I think that this is the way globally we'll be addressing, and all countries will benefit like that. Once again, thank you to all the speakers, all the participants. for a excellent kind of presentation and interaction, and also looking forward similar kind of interactions in future. So we may close here with a clap to all the speakers.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. See you soon.
Bye bye. Have a nice day or evening or whatever. Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, you.
Nice presentation.
Yeah, excellent. We have traveled through Italy totally.